Build them, then we gotta shake them down. What's up guys, welcome to the channel. On this episode, we are continuing on our F100 build. On this episode, I'm gonna be finishing up the exhaust using our Stainless Brothers stainless bends and straights, and also their mufflers. Really excited to see how that's gonna sound. Andrew's gonna continue on with the supercharger install and a bunch of other bits inside the engine bay. What do you have going on in this episode, Andrew?
Yeah, so the heat exchanger, as you saw in the previous episode, we have the pump mounted and we started routing the hoses to the rear of the truck. So we're gonna finalize everything, mount the heat exchanger, and plumbing for that, heat management and bracketry and all the stuff that goes along with getting that stuff to the back of the truck. Then we can fire it up.
And before we do all that though, we have to get that Mustang off the lift, Andrew, and get this thing up in the air.
Yeah, hurry up, let's get to work.
Let's get to work, guys. All right, so we're starting on our exhaust for the F100. We have our Stainless Brothers mufflers. These are the actual 30-inch ones, I believe. They're the bigger ones. These are the biggest ones that Stainless Brothers sells. The reason we're doing that is because the exhaust is gonna be kind of short because of the 4-link. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start making our X-pipe. What I like doing is taking 2 U-bends, and you wanna make sure they're nice and square on the bench with a level. And what I like to do is usually take like a straight edge, about a 1-inch wide straight edge, ruler, whatever you wanna use. You can kind of mark your sides. You want these two to merge together, but not too much. You don't want this to merge down to 3-inch, just barely kissing each other so that the pulses kind of match evenly. After we get this tacked together, we're gonna end up cutting on a 45 on either end so that we can jog out around the transmission and jog out this way enough to keep these mufflers away from each other. You don't want them too tight so that the drive shaft's gonna have room to go through. So it's probably gonna be spread apart about like that. Once we have all that set and the X-pipe is all done, what we'll do is go ahead and get back under the truck and start matching everything up. So we're gonna cut these pieces up right now and get our X-pipe nice and tacked. Now when you want to go weld stainless steel, you want to make sure that your tungsten is as sharp as possible. So I like to use is a tungsten sharpener. It's really good for stainless steel and titanium. If there's any impurities at all on your tungsten, you're gonna have issues. We have our 2 U-bends welded together. So what I went ahead and did was welded this completely up so that it doesn't shift or move. So these 2 U-bends are completely welded up. Now from here, we can cut our 45s. The 45s are gonna allow us to jog out and around the transmission this way, and then out and around the drive shaft this way, connecting to our 2 Stainless Brother mufflers. So we're gonna have to go ahead and rip these 4 45s first, then we'll square them off on our belt sander, and then be able to fit them in the truck. All right, so our X-pipe is trimmed up. It's all nice and faced on the belt sander, so everything's nice and square. As you can see, our Stainless Brother mufflers are gonna be about down yonder. But what we have to do first is get our center line. So center to center, which is gonna fit in our frame rail. What we're gonna do is grab one muffler, bring it over to the truck, and see where we have to make some adjustments, because this truck does favor the driver's side more than the passenger. And what that means is, let's take a walk. It's a little heavy. Here, Andrew, can you hold that real quick?
I can.
Thanks, buddy. All right, so what that means is the drive shaft and the entire drive line of the truck is not centered. The reason Ford does that is just to make my life difficult. So what we have on the driver's side is plenty of room to do a muffler. Passenger side, not so much. Andrew, can you bring my muffler back?
I'm working too, okay?
Technically, I'm working too. So Andrew's gonna put the muffler right up.
We're all working.
I'm gonna put the muffler up yonder.
Oh, wait. Way better.
Oh, wow.
Stainless logo.
It's tight.
It's tight.
These are the lines for the intercooler to cool off the supercharger. We're gonna swap this on top of this cross member for the cab mount. So that's gonna give us our real estate for the muffler. On the driver's side, Andrew, if you could throw that over there, we have miles to put a muffler. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna base our measurements off of this side, find a center line to be able to come over here so it looks somewhat symmetrical in a non-symmetrical setup. This bearing right here is gonna allow the drive shaft to stay completely put, so we don't have to worry about the articulation of the drive shaft to the rear end. So when we mount these mufflers in where we want them, this drive shaft's gonna stay as if it was solid. So what we're gonna do now is take some measurements, and we're gonna go build the back half of this system on the bench, and then we'll connect the dots inside the truck. Thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome.
All right, so we have our X-pipe and mufflers in place. What we're gonna end up doing is probably cutting these little guys off of here, doing a 90 and trying to snake it between this support brace and the frame rail. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. This is about 4.5 inches gap. We got a 3-inch pipe. The Deeds Engineering hangers are gonna be mounted back here somewhere, and they're pretty solid, so the exhaust isn't gonna have a ton of movement. Ideally, we'd shoot the exhaust out the side under the bed, and that's kind of what we're gonna shoot for, but for right now, we're just gonna connect the dots, get the mufflers, the X-pipe in place, so we can come up here and go right into the header on either side. All right, so our exhaust is all set. The hangers obviously need to get put in. This the strap here is just kind of holding everything up where I need it to be. But the X-pipe is all set. We ran our exhaust up to the headers. Our headers on the left and right side, on driver and passenger side, are a little different. That's the only reason why it's not completely symmetrical. The floor on the F100 is really, really wonky. It's offset to the driver. So we had to go a little bit lower on this side than we did on the passenger side. Passenger side, as you can see, has miles to go, and the driver's side is really low. So we ended up coming in pretty much flush with the floor, and on this one we tucked it up as high as we could. The only reason we do that is because you just want to get as much real estate as you can out of the exhaust so there's enough room to breathe. Now that everything is tacked and it's actually bolted in, what I like to do is I'll use the vehicle as like a fixture. If I took this out right now and I welded it up, this is all gonna move like crazy and the V-bands probably won't line up. So what I'll do is I'm gonna leave it in the truck, weld as much as I can. I'll let it cool till you can touch it with your hand. Then I'll pull it out, finish welding it, and then we're gonna make our way back here and get our hangers set up. For this truck, we're using the Deeds Engineering hangers. These are billet aluminum with a rubber isolator. As you can see, it's got a little washer here, but this is rubber. They're really, really high end and really nice. If you're doing an exhaust like this using Stainless Brothers stainless steel, which is probably the best material you can get, you want to use the best hangers you can get. These Deeds Engineering hangers are going to be way nicer, and it's going to really finish off the exhaust nicely, make it just as nice as it is up top. After that, we're going to run the exhaust out the side here and right underneath the bed and give it a nice look. So we're going to go ahead and get this welded up now, pull it out, finish it up, and then start situating our Deeds Engineering hangers.
now Tim's got the exhaust system for the F100 out of the truck and he's final welding it on the bench. So I'm gonna take the time right now while he's got it out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and install the heat exchanger and get it final plumbed so we can get this system 100% done.
There we go. Now time to bolt it in.
The heat exchanger core mounted up. What's left to do is rewire it. We originally were gonna have two smaller, I believe they were 6-inch fans. Now we have one single fan just due to the space constraint. So we're gonna have to just change this to a single connector and that's it. So we're gonna finish getting this in and then we're gonna plumb the lines in, finalize it, fill it with fluid, and this will be a done deal. We've got our cooling lines plumbed to the back of the truck that are going to be moving the hot coolant from the intercooler to the heat exchanger.
Exhaust is all set, guys. The Stainless Brothers mufflers are looking great in there, and our Deeds hangers are even nicer. So I'm gonna put them in the description below, but these billet hangers bring your exhaust system to a whole nother level. You can see we got two right here to hold up the backside of the exhaust. Our V-band assembly is nice and bolted down. We got our O2 sensors in. This Y pipe to X pipe is gonna give it a really nice sound. And from here, we have our V-bands on the backside of our Stainless Brother mufflers. We're gonna try to 90 out and go through out the side. If not, we'll probably just do some turn downs because the 4-link system's just taking up a lot of real estate. So the exhaust is sitting really nice. We gotta tuck up the shift cable and do some things with the wiring as far as the vacuum reference for the fuel pressure regulator, our fuel lines. We're gonna put some probably heat wrap around these guys. Gonna tuck this up a little bit higher, but the exhaust system's pretty much there. We should be good to go. Next step is doing the tips. The exhaust is completely done. We have our tips all set. What we did is we went ahead and put V-bands on the backside of our Stainless Brothers mufflers. So we just did a little quick 90 right out in between the frame rail and some nice kind of like teardrop style tips. So this is going to keep the exhaust flowing out this way. The 4-link system was a little bit difficult in order to run the exhaust out, so we kept it simple and just did little side dumps right here. The X pipe's all set. Our Deeds engineering hangers are looking good, and this exhaust is just looking really nice. Can't say enough about Stainless Brothers. If you guys are looking to do like a high-end exhaust system for your truck or car, doesn't matter what it is, give Stainless Brothers a call. We're gonna put the link in the description below so you can give them a shout and get some materials so you can get your project going. So for right now, we're gonna button up the rest of the truck. We got our heat exchanger in, doing some odds and ends with the brakes and with some other things, and then we'll be able to get this thing started and fired up.
Getting some fluids in the cars for the first fire. Hey, Mikey in there. Right now we're filling up the fluid for the power steering for the first time. We have an electric pump mounted on the frame rail. So I'm gonna go ahead and add fluid, and Mikey's gonna turn the wheel so we can bleed out all the air. All right, so we just got engine oil topped up in this thing. Started to put some of the coolant in it, but I usually don't like to fill everything with water because you never know if there's a problem and you might have to take stuff back apart. But we're gonna hope that that's not what the case is. It's got engine oil, and I think we're ready to fire it for the first time. Base map is already loaded in the PCM that we purchased through Power by the Hour, which is kind of local to where we are. It's in West Palm Beach. It should run and idle pretty good for where it's at. I'm gonna go grab some help from Mike, and we're gonna top off all the rest of the coolant so we can go for a cruise around the block. Rip it, dude. Whoa, Mikey. OPM's working. Got a little pressure. We're charging here. Coolant temp is climbing like it should be. Yeah, everything's working good.
Like that. Build them, then we gotta shake them down. In my Ford Ranger. A little brake noise, never hurt nobody. Gotta get all that factory coating off of it. Just take it a little easy spin around the block. Blinkers work.
Blinker's working.
Tell you, whoever wired up this truck did a phenomenal job. Tell you, I'm looking forward to the electric truck to be done. You won't have to come to the gas station without it.
I was spilling a little bit. What's that, patina? Ooh, what's that? Green goblin.
Oh, buddy, yeah. Oh, learn how to drive, lady. Woohoo! Yeah, boy. All right. We got some brakes coming on. Scaring the sweet Jesus out of me.
Like when you give it like 2% throttle,
Get it.
it's like, oh.
She's already turning heads, bro. She's getting some looks, man. The old Green Goblin. I don't know why I'm calling her the Green Goblin, but I think it kind of works. She sounds pretty ornery. Ornery.
Couple small stuff still to work out. The tune's not 100%. I think the tune that's in it is pretty good for initial, but I know that, like I said, the maps got to get done. I think a little bit of the shift points need to be changed.
I think maybe we should try to stiffen up the suspension a little bit too. Horn works. It's the little things, you know?
It's the little stuff. All right, that was a good test drive.
She's running good.
You like that, right?
Oh, I love it.
It was charging good, oil pressure's up. Small thing with the speedo calibration we still need to address before it gets on the dyno, but other than that, I think it's running really, really good. I'm really excited. I can't wait to get the wheels on too. When the wheels get here, it's gonna transform the truck like you won't even believe. Stay tuned, because the next time you see the truck, it's gonna be ripping on the dyno.